entertainment blog on the internet today, the A-List. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Truth, and I am joined by a very special guest once again this week. You may know him from Twitter and just around pretty much everywhere. He has a lot of websites that I'm sure he's going to talk about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Safari Mike.
Jumbo, Wes. Jumbo, everybody. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Why don't you let all the viewers know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, myself and my brother have a website called JumboEveryone.com. It is a website devoted exclusively to the Animal Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom Lodge. I am a longtime conservation nut. I've been 18 years working at the Bronx Zoo in New York City, and I've been even a longer Disney fan, so I kind of combine the two into a love of Animal Kingdom. And we recently started a podcast devoted to the Animal Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom Lodge called Radio Harambe. We just finished episode 4. It seems to be well received, and I really enjoy doing it. But you can find me on JumboEveryone.com. You see all sorts of stuff about the Animal Kingdom, about the animals there, about food, there's attractions, all that kind of stuff. We have at JumboEveryone.com.
I saw you have a new thing about dining.
Yeah, we had a dining page that had to be updated recently because Animal Kingdom did a whole bunch of turning stuff around at the counter services and the kiosks. So we updated it, and now it's out there now. So
that's cool. I'll have to check that out. I saw you were doing some of your unpopular opinions.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say what I feel. I mean, I kind of I like Secret Space. A lot of people don't like it. I don't like Trail's End in Fort Wilderness. A lot of people like it. I'm not afraid to say what I feel about certain things, at least in the area. Sometimes we get flack for it, but sometimes not.
It's good to be that way, though. You don't have to love every single thing.
That's right. That's right. And when you get down to it, we're just talking about a theme park, so it's really not that big of a deal.
That's true. I know you're a huge Animal Kingdom fan. What is your favorite attraction? Or at least
my favorite attraction is one of two. If you're talking about ride, then I would go to Kilimanjaro Safari. I do love Kilimanjaro Safari. It's a great ride, and I think it's the only ride in Disney World that's different every time you go on it. I mean, one time it's Rhino, and then it's always a little different, as opposed to something like the Jungle Cruise, where those hippos pop up at the same time every time you go on it. Now, in terms of sort of like smaller attractions, I love the Maharaja Jungle Trek. In fact, episode 3 of Radio Harambe, my brother and I spent about an hour doing a tour of the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Hopefully I didn't bore too many people with the little details, but I just love what the Imagineers did with that area over there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Kilimanjaro Safaris. I think some people overlook that.
Kilimanjaro Safaris is one of my favorite rides in all of Disney World. My favorite ride in the park. I mean, I put it up there with Haunted Mansion and things like that, and I just love going on. When I go to Disney World, I just don't go to Animal Kingdom. I mean, I go everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I got that coming up.
Magic Kingdom, But...
other than that's actually my next question, actually. Other than the Animal Kingdom, what are some of your favorite things to do?
My favorite things to do? I always have been a big fan of World Showcase at Epcot. And to be honest, Animal Kingdom is I've referred to it as sort of the spiritual successor of World Showcase. It's kind of that slow-paced part of the Disney World. It's not where you need a touring plan and go 1 step, 2 step, 2 step, 3. It's really kind of relaxing, and really kind of soak up the atmosphere, and often the food and the alcohol too. So, but I love Magic Kingdom too. I love Adventureland. It's a great area. All that kind of stuff. Epcot's probably my second favorite park, followed closely by Magic Kingdom. Hollywood Studios, unfortunately, is a distant fourth. Until they build Star Wars Land, then then we're talking.
I'm looking forward to that, definitely. Yeah, I feel Hollywood Studios needs something to draw people. Because I really did like the park, and then like on my last visit last year, I was like, oh, we totally just like finished everything.
Yeah.
So without like seeing every single show that we see. But you can only see those shows so many times. Like the Indiana Jones show, it's like, oh god, I've seen this like 5 times, 6 times.
Yeah.
It's the same. The Light Motor Action Stunt Show I saw once, and I think I saw maybe one trick be performed.
Yeah.
And the rest was all, this is what it would have looked like had it had happened, right?
Yeah. I have to tell you, the last time I was in Disney World, we were there for only 5 days. We did a trip. We did 4 hours at the Hollywood Studios. And probably half of that was getting my son signed up for Jedi Training Academy and then getting him into the show.
Right.
To be honest, in fairness to, I mean, I know Tower of Terror is a great ride, and people love Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm not a big fan of going way up high and dropping, so I usually don't do that, or going upside down. So that kind of leads me away from Hollywood Studios. It's more of a thrill ride kind of place. I go to Star Tours. I love Muppet Vision. I do Jedi Training Academy, and then I go to Epcot. That's pretty much, my touring plan in the Hollywood Studios. No offense to the studios. Again, until they build Star Wars Land or Cars Land, then
yeah. Speaking of Disney World expansions, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Avatar Land.
Oh, yeah, well, I am not the biggest proponent of Avatar. I'm not a big fan of the movie. This is a movie sort of show here. I can tell you that I've seen Avatar a couple of times, and I don't get the appeal. It's visually stunning. It is a stunning movie. But to me, it's a movie based on a gimmick, and that gimmick was 3D IMAX. Everybody had to go see it in 3D IMAX because that was how you saw it. And rightfully so, it was, again, visually stunning. The characters, the story, and I've said this a couple of times in different places, was Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves. And that's the story. Just with giant blue people. The movie itself, the characters are not memorable to me. Luke Skywalker is memorable. Harry Potter is memorable. Aragorn is memorable. I can't tell you what the name of the main character of Avatar is. I have no idea. I know it's the guy from Clash of the Titans. That's all I can tell you. I don't know his character's name. I know Sigourney Weaver is in it, but I mean that's all I can tell you. It just doesn't carry the weight, and I don't think it has the social significance of a movie like Harry Potter or Star Wars. I just don't think 10 years from now, where people will still be talking about Star Trek, still be talking about Star Wars, and I'm sure, there'll be Harry Potter conventions 10 years from now and all that stuff. I'm sure of it. I don't think that's true for Avatar. Having said that, if they build some cool attractions that people enjoy, it'll be fine, overall. I just think there are better things they could do. Australia, Mystic Point, something in those lines. People disagree with me, including the co-host of my own podcast, but, that's what it is. It is what it is. I mean, that's my take. There are things you could do that were better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When I heard about them building that, what? Really? I know they have 3 more movies coming from the Avatar series, but I don't know if it. And it is the biggest movie of all time, but like you said, I don't know. It feels like undeserving of that title.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's based on a gimmick. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but my feeling it's sort of like The Matrix. The Matrix was built on a gimmick, that interesting special. It was interesting visually, and people wanted to see it. And it was a neat little story. I mean, it was fine. But Matrix 2 and Matrix 3, I mean, did anybody ever see those? I don't know. I think I saw half of one once. I don't even know if it was 2 or 3. I'm worried that that's what Avatar is going to be. People will be like, I've seen this. Been there, done that. It doesn't carry... It's not of mythical proportions like Harry Potter, like Star Wars is, or Lord of the Rings, and that kind of stuff. I think people sort of... It's got a bigger story to it, and people will, continue to talk about it and watch it years from now.
Now, getting into some movies.
Sure.
Some of your favorite movies of all time?
My favorite movies of all time? Well, I have to tell you, Star Wars is I'm a big Star Wars geek. I love Star Wars. I even, like some of the prequels a little bit, talking about confessions of opinions that are not popular. Uh, I mean, Empire Strikes Back is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm a huge Godfather fan. I love the Godfathers. Even, God forbid, number 3 wasn't terrible, but Godfather 1 and 2, I love those. In terms of Disney movies, huge Lady and the Tramp fan. That's my favorite animated classic of all time. But I'm big on Lion King, and I love Up. Those are my 3 favorite Disney movies. I'm a big fan of the Avengers. I thought that was an amazing movie, and I cannot wait for Avengers 2. And I'm a comic book geek from way back when. I used to read comics, and one of the best things about having a son was to make sure he was into Star Wars and comic books, and I've accomplished that. So he's a big Star Wars fan and Marvel fan too. So I get to relive all that kind of stuff again. So that's just some of my favorites.
Yeah. And it's really cool that Star Wars and Marvel. So it's like, now Marvel stuff is Disney stuff, and Star Wars stuff is Disney stuff.
That's right. When I was young, my big loves were Marvel Comics, Star Wars, and Disney, and now they're all the same thing.
Yeah. Some recent movies that come out this year.
This year, let's see. The movies I saw this year were mostly Disney movies. I saw Monsters University. I thought that was okay. I mean, I did not think it was as good as the first one, but it was, watchable. I saw The Lone Ranger, oddly enough, and apparently I was the only one that did, but I thought it was a relatively good movie. I was surprised at how poorly it did at the movie theater. I don't know how you felt about it, but, was it perfect? No. It was fun. I mean, I don't understand why people didn't really care for it. Those are the 2 most recent movies I saw. I saw Iron Man, every big Disney. I saw Iron Man 3, that was a lot of fun.
What are some movies that you're looking forward to that are coming out later?
Well, certainly 4 too, to keep on the Marvel theme. I enjoyed the first 4. I thought that was a pretty good movie. What they're doing with the Marvel movies, being a Marvel geek and enjoying all that stuff way back when, it's like I'm reliving my childhood. And they're doing a pretty good job of keeping the characters themselves that I remember growing up. Iron Man, please. Robert Downey Jr. was like made for that role, and I like this guy as Thor too. I think it's fun. It's an enjoyable movie, and I hope it's a good one. Saving Mr. Banks obviously is on everybody's viewing. That'll be an interesting movie. I'm trying to think of what else is coming out. What's coming out? The Hobbit. The Hobbit 2, obviously. I enjoyed the first one, and I'll be there for the second one. With my son.
Frozen comes out.
Oh, Frozen. Something about I'll probably see it. I'm not looking forward to it like I did Wreck-It Ralph. I thought that just seemed like it was going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it was a great movie. Yeah. Frozen, the trailer, the first couple of trailers that we've seen here are not really all that appealing to me. Having said that, neither were Tangled. They were very bizarre, and they didn't really give you any kind of inkling as to what the story was going to be about. That's kind of what they're doing with Frozen. So I'm sort of in a wait and see what we get with Frozen. I'll probably wind up seeing it. I'm not sure. I wouldn't really say I'm really looking forward to that one, like some of the other ones I mentioned.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see more of the trailer.
People, don't you know it's about time? Can you hear the jam is pumping while you taste the...
So, this weekend, we're gonna see a lot of tweets about on Twitter. And you'll probably hear the 2 of us complaining that we're not there. But hopefully one year we can do a road trip for all the people that have never been there before, and that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
T23 Expo is a Disney basic version of Comic-Con. They're going to have all this stuff going on. We got to hear before. Some things we haven't mentioned, there's going to be a screening of Planes, which comes out this week. What are your thoughts on Planes?
I have. When you were talking about movies that I'm interested in seeing, that certainly is not one of them. I have to admit, I never saw Cars 2. I didn't really care for Cars 1 all that much. It's not really my thing. Whatever. So I never bothered with Cars 2. And this, I would see Cars 2 before I saw this.
Yeah.
And you hear all this stuff that it's just like, first of all, it's not Pixar. It's not even Disney Animation. It's the television guys making this movie. It just doesn't. the Tinkerbell movies don't really appeal to me, and neither is this one. I mean, I'll be shocked if it does really well, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised it has a theatrical release.
I know they were not going to release it. It was going to be direct to DVD. They were talking about putting it on the channel, and then they just decided to put it in the theaters.
Yeah.
That should tell you something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, should we or shouldn't we? Yeah.
They didn't think they were sitting on a gold mine, that's for sure.
Yeah. Also, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. pilot will be airing. I'm excited for that.
Oh, I cannot wait for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to come out. That looks like, I mean, I've heard some buzz that it's, I mean, they played it at Comic-Con, did they not? I've heard the buzz that it really hit all the marks. People really loved it. Now, granted, this is Comic-Con, where these are people who are like dying to see this TV show. But I'm in that group. I'm ready to see it. I hope it does well. They say it's terrific, so we'll see. I can't wait for. Flames, I can wait for.
Yeah, definitely. Flames can stay landed. Something interesting that they're going to have at the expo is the Waffle Maker, which I just found out about earlier this week. It's from the Phineas and Ferb series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Phineas and Ferb. I know. I mean, the Wafflenator. I know. I mean, I've seen that particular episode where everything gets turned into a waffle or whatever. It's a great show. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Phineas and Ferb, but that doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, that's whatever.
Yeah. The last thing I really want to do if I'm at D23 is go and play with some waffles.
Yeah, I mean, the Mickey waffles I'll eat, but that's about it.
Yeah, more for the kids, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, but my kids, I mentioned them before, they're 11 and 9, so Phineas and Ferb is right in their wheelhouse, as is like Gravity Falls and some of the other stuff on Disney Channel. And that's fine. You put it in the D23. I'm not going to talk about it on my, Twitter or anything like that, but it's perfectly fine. I mean, I get it. People enjoy it and, that and with other Disney Channel stuff. I mean, one thing about Phineas and Ferb, I can say more than pretty much any other cartoon, is as an adult, I can sit there and I'll get a chuckle out of it, as opposed to some of the other cartoons that are just not geared to really for the adults. But it does throw in some references for adults, as is Gravity Falls, that keeps me entertained.
Some of the panels that they're going to have are upcoming animation projects, such as Frozen and Pixar, Pixar as well, looking at the Good Dinosaur. That'll be interesting. Like I said, hopefully we'll get a new trailer for Frozen. And also the live-action films, like Saving Mr. Banks, a Once Upon a Time panel for those that are interested in that show. That's a show I'm looking to jump onto. I have to catch up on the last season, but I have a list that's really long of all these shows I have to catch up on. And that's one of the ones on the list, and it's a shorter episodes to catch up on, so I might be jumping onto that one soon.
Right. I have to admit, I've never seen that. I've never seen that show.
So I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, we are. Those panels that you're talking about, the animation one, which is Friday at 10 a.m., and then the live-action one, which is Saturday at 10 a.m., they kick off the 2 days. That's where you're going to hear news. I mean, that's where, previously D23, Johnny Depp showed up in his Pirates costume. So, I mean, you sort of hear, like, these rumblings that maybe Tom Hanks is showing up dressed up as Walt Disney. For news, newsworthy stuff, Friday morning and Saturday morning for movies. Animation, I think they kick off the whole event is kicked off with Bob Iger introducing John Lasseter to talk about the animated movies Friday morning. So you'll get, you'll probably get some info. So, tune to Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff Friday and Saturday morning.
Definitely, yeah. And I'll be covering that as much as I can, and I'm sure Mike will as well. And also, for Kingdom Keepers fans out there, there's going to be a panel for that, and the author is going to do book signings, which would be pretty neat, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get the book signed. I'm actually just in the middle of number 3. That's another thing I've just sort of picked up on these Kingdom books. I think they're okay. Also, Richard Sherman and Alan Menken will be there, which is always a highlight, doing some from the Disney songbook.
Yeah.
There's going to be a Mystic Manor panel, which is
That sounds interesting to me. Yeah, that looks like a good one. Yeah.
I know you brought that up before, and that is definitely one thing I would love to see added to the Animal Kingdom. Like you said, instead of Avatar Land, I would love to.
Yeah. I wrote a couple of posts on John Bover about that, sort of molding that. It kind of has that theme for an Animal Kingdom, that kind of exploration,
Yeah.
turn of the century kind of thing. I think would fit pretty smoothly in there. I don't know if I mean, obviously, I've never been to Hong Kong Disney in the last, never mind in the last month. I'm sure you haven't either. But have you seen the attraction on YouTube videos and stuff like that? It's amazing. It is really amazing. I would love to see something like that anywhere in Disney World, really.
Yeah.
There's very little chance I'm ever getting to Hong Kong, so I hope they bring it somewhere around here.
And definitely, and then we have the Imagineering panel as well.
Well, that's the doozy. I mean, it's that was the one where they sort of, at first they said there was going to be no parks announcement. There's no parks panel. And there isn't technically a parks panel that like it had the last couple of times. But they had these Imagineering, 60th anniversary of Imagineering. And then recently they announced some of what you're going to see there. And that includes sneak peeks of Avatar and Star Wars. So they're sort of telling you that you're going to see a sneak peek. Now, that doesn't mean, some people say, all right, and so they're announcing Star Wars Land and we're going to be able to see what they're going to be. That's not what they said. They just said there's going to be teasers for Avatar and Star Wars. I don't know what that means. That could mean a new Chewbacca meet and greet at Star Wars. I have no idea. It also could mean a TIE Fighter roller coaster that they're building.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or somewhere, it could have been anything. They didn't really tell you. All they told you is that they're going to tease you a little bit about Avatar and Star Wars. And it is also the first time they've actually come out and said, we're building something else for Star Wars, which in and of itself was big news. And that's Sunday. Those panels are Sunday, so be tuned to Twitter for that too. I'm fascinated to see what they do about Avatar. I want to know what they're going to tease. Are they going to tease some concept art? Are they going to tease... I mean, I don't know. I can't wait to find out.
Adhering to some other news that happened this week, this is more big news on Twitter. Everyone was tweeting about this, of the Doctor Who fans out there. The 12th Doctor was announced, Peter Capaldi. And I'm not familiar with him or much of his work. I saw he was in World War Z, but the only thing I remember about World War Z is Brad Pitt and zombies. So,
Right.
and he wasn't either one of those, I don't think. So, but it's been very positive, the reaction online. So, are you a Doctor Who fan?
I'm not. I've never seen one episode of Doctor Who. I know I've probably just lost some followers there on Twitter. They did bailing out. I should look, see how many I lost in the last second. But I've never seen it. It's something that would probably appeal to me. I mean, I'm kind of a sci-fi kind of fan, but for whatever reason, I've never really gotten into it. But maybe I need to step up and start watching it.
Yeah, I just started getting into it like last year. I started watching the last couple of seasons. Now I'm backtracking on Netflix and
Right.
watching the rebooted version, trying to catch up a little bit before the next one starts. I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
I will, on your recommendation, Wes.
Okay. If you pick a random episode, I don't know that it's going to be good or not. Also, we found out this week that Ellen DeGeneres will be hosting the Oscars once again. I think that's a pretty good choice. I'm a fan of Ellen. I like her show. I think she did pretty well last time Oscars.
She's a good choice. I mean, she's a safe choice. She's relatively popular. She's not controversial really in any way. I mean, she's not going to... People sort of like her, especially the crowd that watches things like the Academy Awards, which I do. I mean, I watch the Academy Awards. She is, she's a safe choice. That people feel like, okay, Ellen, I know Ellen. People feel like they know Ellen, that she has a talk show. So people feel comfortable watching her, and I'm sure the executives feel comfortable putting her there. They're not going to get a David Letterman kind of problem or anything like that. So it's a good choice.
And some other movie news. Harrison Ford will be replacing Bruce Willis in The Expendables 3, mostly because of money issues. Bruce Willis wanted $1 million per day that he was on the set. Really, Bruce Willis?
You know what that tells me? That tells me he doesn't want to do Expendables 3.
Yeah, exactly.
He's only going to do it if they paid him, billions of dollars. Other than that, he wasn't doing it. So
That's Charlie Sheen demands there. That's getting weird.
But shouldn't Harrison Ford be prepared to be Han Solo? I mean, I'm not sure why he should be. Why is he doing Expendables 3 for? He's got to get ready for Star Wars 7.
Well, hopefully it's going to get into shape or something. But...
Yeah, right. I had heard that Harrison Ford was kind of reluctant to go back to being Han Solo.
Yeah.
If he's willing to do Expendables 3, he's pretty much willing to do whatever you want him to do, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when they said episode 7's coming, he's like, let's screw it. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I'm going to be Han Solo again, so I can just do anything. And in some animated news, non-Disney, John Malkovich and Benedict Cumberbatch, who's big this year, joined the voice cast of Penguins of Madagascar. Another Madagascar film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one was fine. What did they do? 3, right? I never saw the third, so I don't. It's okay. I mean, I get it. It's popular, so I'm waiting for How to Train Your Dragon 2. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Madagascar doesn't really have that appeal to me. I gotta see Despicable Me 2. I haven't seen it yet. I gotta see it.
That brings us to this week's box office prediction. Last week I was wrong. But once again, I've been wrong a lot the last few weeks. Because I thought Smurfs 2 would be number 1. I normally go with the geared toward the younger audience movies. It had 3D going for it, but I guess even the kids don't want to see the Smurfs anymore.
But just thank God it didn't do well. I mean, I think I said on Twitter at one point, there's still hope for civilization. Smurfs 2 bombs.
Yeah. I saw that when I was sulking about being wrong. Oh. But yeah, Two Guns was number 1. This week, the new releases include comedy We're the Millers, Percy Jackson, which I already saw and reviewed. It's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Elysium, and of course, Plane. That's a tricky one, because they all could do somewhat well, but I think the number 1 movie, I'm going to go with Elysium.
Really? I'm going to, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of mediocrity in terms of box office here. There's not going to be anything huge, no shocking, 50 million in the first day kind of things. I guess, what is it? I think The Millers. How to Meet the Millers?
We're the Millers, yeah.
We're the Millers, that's it, thank you.
I'm in between on those.
Elysium, when you get towards the end of the summer, I think you kind of get overkill with some of the action movies, and they kind of don't quite do the same as earlier in the Mays and Junes. I think, this is more of an adult type of movie. I just have a feeling that this one will be a little bit. It's not going to be blockbuster, but I just have a feeling that that'll be number 1. But I could be dead wrong.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to change my take. I hope I'm not wrong by doing this, but I'm going to go with We're the Millers, because I was on the fence about it, and I just sort of went with Elysium. But I'm going with We're the Millers. So we're going to see.
Planes is going to be number 1, right?
Alright, and that brings us to this week's Babe of the Week. And it comes from We're the Millers. She was recently in the news for beating up her boyfriend, so I think we should probably give her something good here. She's this week's A-list Babe of the Week, Emma Roberts.
There's a lot of pretty girls in this city. There's a lot of pretty girls in this city. I'm trying to get the...
Well, that's all the time we've got for this episode. Thanks again to Safari Mike for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online?
Sure. find me on Twitter. You can find me at JohnBoy-Everyone. We have a Facebook page, JohnBoy-Everyone. Website, obviously, is JohnBoy-Everyone. You've got a theme here. We're also Radio Harambe, which is our podcast, which you can find on iTunes, you can find on Stitcher, and you can find on Podbean.
For me, of course, you can subscribe to my YouTube right here, youtube.com/westside515. Like my page on Facebook, facebook.com/WesAList. Follow me on Twitter, @WesAList. And, of course, you can buy my book, A-List Review 2012 Movie Yearbook. Over 140 reviews for the year 2012, and only $10. Contact me through Facebook or Twitter if you're interested. All right, well, thanks again for stopping by, sir.
Thank you.
And we'll see everybody next week. Be sure to tune to our Twitters and whatnot, our pages for the upcoming D23 news this week. We'll post it as we get it. Until next time, truth.